carried on. According to Polpiff, the professor of the University of Berkeley, poor people tend to take an attitude to understand suffering people's circumstance and give consolation to them and try to help them out. The Polpiff is a social psychologist studying how social hierarchy, inequality, and emotion shapes relations between individuals group. So he researched social behaviors to find people's tendency in hierarchical society that divides people between rich group, and poor group. And his primary research target for the experiments of people's social behavior was how much influence moral and ethical behaviors are given by what type of social group and what position of people in the social hierarchy contribute to it the most. So moral and ethical behaviors, which I'm talking about here, is a mutual understanding and volunteering and helping people, helping each other that generally gives social benefit to our society. So for the first experiment, he researched the behavior of people in the bottom of society. So people in the bottom of society is a kind of people with low self-management awareness and skills because of the really difficult living environment, such as a low educational or standard, low educational, level, and low income level, and poor family environment, poor family relationship with serious discord and constant conflict inside. And what he wanted to know was about the issue of whether or not the group of people in the bottom of society had a stronger sense of mercy that makes them voluntarily give a consolation to them and help someone in trouble proactively than the group of people in the top of society with high income level and high educational level, although they recognize their low social status in the society. So the percentage of donations to charity activities occupied in the entire national income in the United States tells us the fact that donation amount by the bottom of the pyramid is way bigger than that by the top of the pyramid in the U.S. society. And the group of people belonging to the bottom of society, he thinks that they should donate as much money as possible to charity activities from their limited family budget. And moreover, if a partner faces difficulties in a really severe situation, really, severe social environment, they proactively support a partner. And the results of his experiment tells us they are not only ethical, but they take quite beneficial behavior to our society. At the second experiments, Polpiff observed drivers' reaction before a crossing walk in a traffic intersection. According to the experiment, drivers of a gorgeous car with high social evaluation tend to cut into the line of a car forcibly all of a sudden. And if a pedestrians come into their eyesight when they drive a car, they didn't proactively slow down the speed of a car, and they didn't stop a car before them proactively. So Paul also researched people's sense of privilege between people in the bottom of a society and the people in the top of society. And people in the top of society had a high score of psychological tests that inspected the degree of narcissistic personality hidden in the sense of privilege than people in the bottom of a society. So it was found that people in the top of societies spend a lot of time in front of a mirror when they are alone and they know there's nobody around them. And also he made a psychological experiment to research people's reaction after he made them read a sentence that said like, you receive a benefit by insisting on ownership of things that originally don't belong to you. So people in the top of society had a great tendency to answer like, um, I may agree with this situation. I may do the same thing that the sentence says after reading it. So according to research by Paul Piff, we can change narcissistic personality that brings antisocial and unethical way of thinking by approaching it to our moral and ethical characteristics. So when making testers of psychological tests answer three advantages of egalitarianism on the premise that they were given the proposition that egoism was justice, there was no difference in the way of thinking about unethical behavior when people in the bottom of the society and the people in the top of society. The point where the clear difference shows up in accordance with the social class was a type of question of people's attitude about whether or not they comply with social obligation, rather than the question of behavior quantity, about how much they can, take unethical behaviors. So any researchers succeeded in lowering narcissistic personality of group of people in the top of society by making them think about the value of egalitarianism. So Paul Piff concluded people with high social status are likely to take thoughtless behavior. That according to him, those who have great motivation to maximize their social status have a great tendency to have strong antisocial personality, and objectively we have a trait to behave arrogantly to people who are believed to belong to the bottom of a society in general. And if the number of people who are believed to be inferior to those who belong to the top of society increase, people in the top of society will reduce opportunity to be considerate of others, so that they naturally become arrogant to others. So, but the essence of the problem is that the atmosphere that allows people with high social status to take self-centered behavior easily comes out, rather than this is a simple characteristic of people in the top of society. So according to researchers, countries like Japan and the Netherlands, where egalitarianism is deeply rooted in its society, has a lot of people in the top of society with a feeling of generosity and sense of mercy to people who are believed to be inferior to them. So an equal society that possibly accepts social disparities tends to have a lot of people with high social status having negative thoughts to donate to charity activities. So Paul Piff tells us how seriously epidemic called narcissism gives a great impact on expansion of social disparities in our society, because people really want to be praised by everyone as a respectable person. So in order to survive in a harsh competitive society, we assume that striving forward to advancement, competition with expansive delusion is the only way to get a social status. But narcissism and self-assertiveness keep people away from a good human relationship and happiness. while those conceal and cover our worries against society.